Hello. So we're here to introduce you a bit more to our guide that we work together, Pioupiou Cosmetics and RoseKin Cosmetics. We wanted to have a bit of talk with you and explain you a bit what we have in this guide and our best recommendation. Maybe first, Jessica, let's introduce ourselves so it's easier for everyone to understand. Tell me who you are.
Thank you so much, Claire. Yes, we're super excited to introduce you to our guide because we get so many messages the whole year around about which sun filters should we use, which is the best sunscreen, what do I need to look for. And we really tried now to gather our knowledge together from two brands to give you a better understanding in this jungle of sunscreen. My name is Jessica. I'm the founder of RoseKin Cosmetics, really focused on sun protection, making it easy, accessible, and fun to actually add to your daily routine because really my focus is that you're protected daily with products that you're happy to wear. You don't feel like it's sunscreen, but that really protect you as its best. That's my mission, and I'm very very happy to work often together with Claire from Pioupiou Cosmetics. We really share the same values as friends, which is very important too. And yeah, I would say, Claire, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Good, thank you. Thanks, Jessica. So I'm Claire. Indeed, I'm also a mother. So which aim to my own mission, I do own the Pioupiou Cosmetics brand. So here with Pioupiou, I wanted to provide the parents the cosmetics and the skincare that they need to use for their kids and babies from birth. Everything that is the most natural and the most clean, let's say, as possible. So mummies don't have to think about, oh, is this good? What I'm using on my kid? Is this ingredient good? Is this the right way? So I really wanted to have something that is good for the skin, good for good to use, and the essentials. And in my essentials, especially, I do have a sunscreen for kids and babies, and this is where we completely match with RoseKin because we care about those things. We want to provide the parents a good tool and a good skincare product for sun. And we also don't want to fear them. I mean, don't want to make them afraid about sun, but rather provide the good tools and the right way to protect themselves and the kids. So yeah, here we are. We built this, so we wrote this guide together just to give the best tools, how to pick the right sun care and what are the key things and the key information to look for when we are talking about sunscreen, when we're talking about protection, sun protection for ourselves and for the kids, and yeah, mainly for the family.
Exactly.
Good. So let's probably start with the basics on what is a sunscreen and what are the UV filters we talk about when we do sunscreens. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about the different filters and the chemical ones.
Yes, I will definitely dive into this in a second, but I also wanted to mention that sunscreen is really important the whole year round, not just in the summer. I know we're approaching summer now, and people really have that on top of their mind when it comes to this period in the year. But I really want to tell you guys that it's important to think about sun protection the whole year round because UVA filters, UVA rays are here the whole year round. It doesn't matter the season, it doesn't matter the weather, and it doesn't matter the location. Sunscreen should be a topic 365 days a year. Something else I wanted to add to this whole guide and why people are getting confused. I think at the beginning we just thought about maybe I should use sunscreen, right? That was like the first thing. Maybe for summer, I should wear sunscreen. And now we're so much further already with our information and the knowledge that we understand now it's not just sunscreen. There are different types of sunscreen for different types of people as well, where we will dive into this as well. What is the difference maybe with kids, with pregnant women, with normal like adults? There is so much more to it that you maybe don't think at the beginning when you just hear sun protection that we try to help you as well to understand better if you're interested in this knowledge. So about the different UV filters. As people are getting more interested in sunscreen, they also start to realize that there are different filters. And I start now with the chemical filters. So there are 2 different filters that we can use till today. Let's see what the future brings, because everything is constantly evolving, right? But today we have the option for physical filters, or called mineral filters as well, and the chemical or organic filters. And I think there is a lot of buzz about the chemical filters in the last years, mainly because of the US, because they have different options. I will get to that a bit later, but they have different options and they can only use quite old, outdated, in my opinion, chemical filters, which definitely showed in some studies problematic issues. And because of that, it really spread this fear of chemical filters, which is not really, how do you say that, not really fair to the chemical filters, because the new chemical filters are really, really safe and really good as well. And chemical filters have a lot of positive things, like if you don't like to get the feeling of sunscreen, you most likely go to the new chemical filters, because they are easy and super beautifully integrated in different formulas, for example in makeup, that you don't feel it. They're very non-detectable, I would say. And also with the new filters, with the new chemical filters, you need much less amount to achieve the same high level that you achieved with the old filters, with much more. And it's always the dose that makes the poison, right? So we could reduce with the new chemical filters the dosage a lot, which makes them really safe. They work with absorption, so they go into the top layer of the skin, and when the UV filters hit, they are kind of like changed into heat. That's how they work. And it's important to understand both, that also the physical filters work a bit in a different way, similar but in a different way. This is also something I see, Claire, with dermatologists and cosmeticians still being a bit misinformed. Physical filters that we fought, and maybe you want to highlight what's going on with the physical filters.
Yeah, sure. So when we talk about physical filters, or mineral filters, as we also call them, so this knowledge that the dermatologists and many people know from early time, is that they work as a shield. So they do reflect on the skin. They really work as a shield. But the recent studies have shown that they also kind of work in both ways. It's true that they reflect on the body, and then the UV kind of goes away if we want to image that, but they also get absorbed by the skin, by the body, and convert to heat, similar way as the chemical does. But in this sense, I would say they work in a similar way. The only thing is, the most difference for me is that the chemical, even though they are really good, they have really improved over time, they are still a bit too aggressive for babies, in a way that they can be sensitive. There can be some allergic reaction or anything, but it's a bit more this thing that is something we need to check. Is for babies, for delicate skin, we better use a mineral filter that is usually safe for skin reaction. But in terms of protection, we are really in a similar way. The other thing I want to highlight is that when we had in the past years all those discussions about physical mineral, we were not sure about the action and so on. The only thing was like, okay, let's use mineral for kids, but it's not convenient because it leaves this white cast on the skin. It's super white. It's not easy to use. I have to say as well here that there was a lot of improvement in all the formulas, because now indeed the filters, the mineral filters are still there. It's still the same ingredients, but the formulas are way better in the application, in the visual effect. So here again, we are getting to a almost similar effect than the chemical ones. So the last thing I want to say is that if we wanted to have something to choose, either mineral or chemical, for a baby or really like a very, very sensitive skin, I'd rather go to the mineral one, because it's a bit less, there are a bit less reaction. And then for everyone else, let's go for any of the new chemical filters. So these
Or a mixed
are
filter,
the good
which
thing
is
to
also
remember.
a mixed filter. We actually use mixed filters in most of
Mhm.
our products because then you can have the best of both worlds. What I also wanted to say about the mineral filters, I think there's a big difference if you use nano mineral filters or just normal, right? Because the non-nano are really the safest one for the sensitive skin and for babies. So also for my kids, I also have 2 kids. I only use right now for them in these early years the mineral based, but non-nano,
Non-nano,
which is an
yeah.
important thing to add, I think.
Yeah, it's important, and you can detect, I have to say here, that we can all detect that from the formula, even though it's difficult to understand when you're not from the cosmetic industry. There is like the nano written when there are nano particles in it. So you should avoid that. Rather avoid the nano one in the mineral filters because it can penetrate the skin, and that's not what we want when we talk about like sensitive skin on babies.
And be careful because when I go to Lidl, to many different stores, and I take the sunscreen for kids, it's mostly not physical filters. It's usually chemical filters,
It
and
is.
most likely, unfortunately, the old chemical filters that I wouldn't even put on myself. So be very careful. Don't just think because it says for kids or for babies that it will be the mineral filters. Unfortunately, that's true.
Exactly.
Maybe we can go right away into the sunscreen for kids.
Yeah,
We're already on
exactly.
that topic that you can share a bit more.
Yeah, so I can share a bit more about the sunscreen for kids. We do with Pioupiou have a formula that is 100% mineral. So we use the titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, non-nano, as we said. This was really important for us. And the important thing when you look for a sunscreen for kids is that it needs to protect UVA and UVB. This you would see immediately on the packaging. We can explain a bit later, but you need to see UVA and UVB. And I am recommending not less than 50 SPF protection. It's important to keep that in mind, that even though your kid is, but that would be valid also for adults. But let's talk about kids. Even though the kid has a matte skin or like a darker skin, they all need SPF 50 at least, because the skin is really thin, really sensitive. So they need really high protection. So that's, I would say that these are the two things to check: SPF 50 and plus. UVA, UVB, mineral filters, non-nano. So these are the things. And then look at a bit the ingredients to be a bit sure that there are no other bad things, like avoid too much perfume or too much alcohol, because this for sure the skin will react, and then it will also react with the UV rays. So just try to have something that is dedicated to kids, that has been really tested, dermatologically tested, and that has those like mineral 50 UVA, UVB. It's really important to have a sunscreen and to use it with your kid. Try also to try it before, because it's important that it's easy to apply. Kid, it shouldn't be like a burden to put the sunscreen on, because otherwise the kid will refuse to do it, and then it will be like, it will be worse not to put any. So also one important thing is to explain him that it's important and that it helps also. I think it's an important thing to take care of. Yeah. And then maybe we can quickly link it to pregnant women, because we have talked about kids, but pregnant women have similar issues.
2 more things to the kids. One thing is a tip that helped me with my twins a lot to make it a bit more fun habit for the kids. So I use my makeup brush for them. So I bought, RoseKin has makeup brushes, so I could just take one of mine. And they have their own dedicated makeup brush that is for the sunscreen. And I put it on the skin, and they are allowed to help me together to put the sunscreen in. And like this, they really think it's funny because they see that I put makeup on in the morning and they want to do something similar. So
Exactly.
even my daughter now uses sunscreen to put it in her bag, to take it with, because she thinks kind of it's her makeup or something. So like this, it helped me a lot to make it an easy task for them. And then secondly, because I come also from the dermatology background, the skin thinness and sensitivity is really big. So we just think kids are born and they have the same skin as adults have, which is not true. So our skin is so much more resilient already, went through so much, and is much thicker as well than the skin of the babies and the kids.
True.
And that's why it's so important to really look for products that were formulated especially for this thin skin. And that's also the reason that you definitely should take always an SPF 50, because UV rays can penetrate so much easier on their skin than on adult skin. I am an advocate of SPF 30 on adults' face, especially from like autumn to spring. That's enough. For summer, I always say also for adults, SPF 50 is the way to go, because you will maybe not think about reapplying, you maybe forget. And also with the kids, like they play, they sweat, they use water. You would really need to be every 2 hours there to reapply, which is a difficult task. But luckily, there are not many below SPF 50 sunscreen for the body for kids anymore, which is helpful as well, right?
Yeah, that's true. No, and it's a good thing that I can jump on this one. Because even though we are SPF 50, we apply sunscreen on our kids or even on ourselves, it's important to reapply, especially when we talk about the body and the kids, to reapply every few hours. Not only because the filters don't work so long, but mostly because, yeah, we sweat. The kids are jumping around. They go to the water. They like dry themselves. So even though some like parents would say, oh, it's written water resistant, that's not the thing to look for. It's more like, think about it, you apply it, the kids are playing, 2 hours later, you need to reapply it just because they need to have a better protection. So don't be missed by those like water protection. Okay, I'm safe the whole day. No, not for kids. It's not right. So think about that. It needs to come back, especially if you spend the whole day outside.
Definitely. And also clothes. Don't underestimate clothes. Clothes is the best sunscreen ever. So please use long sleeve clothes also for swimming. A hat, always a hat. Kid should never run around without a hat. And sunglasses is also important because we also need to protect the eyes. And don't forget the lips. And obviously the ears, because they can also get burned.
Exactly. And the last thing to say about that is any baby under 6 months or under 1 year, I would say, do not put them directly on the sun. It's not good for them. There is no point on doing that. So you'd rather have some shades and protect themselves there.
100%. That's an important one. And then when we talk about pregnancy, to come as the next, what I went through myself, I used sun protection every day, but not tinted sunscreen when I was pregnant. And I got melasma. Melasma is very, very common in women, and especially during or after the pregnancy because of the hormones. We're much more prone to get it. And now I have a bit of difficult time to get rid of it. But luckily, because I use now tinted sunscreen every day, I could reduce it already a lot. But just to tell you from my own experience, and I really used everyday sun protection in my pregnancy, but not the tinted one. And there are new studies that really show that if you want to protect for melasma, which you're highly prone to in pregnancy, you need to use not only a sunscreen, but a tinted sunscreen additionally to really shield the light. So this is my biggest tip if you're pregnant or want to be pregnant and you don't want to risk to get melasma because it's really a pain to get rid of it. Use tinted sunscreen every day. What do I mean with tinted sunscreen? The sunscreen it's not just white, a normal screen. It's really like with color, with iron oxide. So, for example, foundation, or they're called tinted sunscreen, an additional powder with some protection, just something that has color in it to shield the light.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's important to think about that. And also, like, try again to have it as a routine, because even though it's springtime, you don't think that the sun is there. Yes, it's there, especially you pregnant, you have the hormones, and then the skin will react. So, yeah, you're
And
completely right on this one.
I was pregnant from like summer to March and I got it.
Yeah,
So it's really like, please
it
be
is.
aware.
It is completely, yeah. And then another thing, you can also, if your skin is really sensitive, try to think also that same as for the kids, you can also use mineral protection, non-nano again. Check this one because you definitely don't want to have the nanoparticle going to your body and to potentially the baby. And yeah, try to look for something that quite specific and high protection as well, SPF 50.
And especially with the tinted sunscreen, use SPF 50 plus. Why? Because you will not use enough
Mhm.
that you really get the SPF 50. Because if you think about makeup, that's why RoseKin only has SPF 50 plus in makeup. With 50 plus means much higher than 60. It was tested higher than 60, otherwise you can't put the plus. And why? Because when you just use a normal amount of makeup, it's usually not the same amount of sunscreen you would use on your face. So you have less amount you put, so you need a much higher SPF to still be protected really well. If you come with SPF 15, 20, 30 in makeup, I'm sorry, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Oh, you're right. That's true. Perfect. So good. So these are for really the, let's say, the most sensitive one around here. So the kids, the babies, the pregnant women. But tell us a bit more about like adults, because it's also something we hear about. Okay, I don't know how to protect myself as an adult. Should I put it every day? Yes, but why? How should I reapply it? So tell us about what you're saying also with RoseKin and your mission.
I think firstly, it's most important to understand that the face skin is different from the other skin. So it would be the same if you use a body lotion on your face. If you use the sun protection that you use for your body on your face, it's differently formulated. And luckily, we're now very advanced already with face sunscreen that we can make them really like a skincare routine. So that's just the first thing I want to say. Please don't use your body sunscreen for your face. Use a specific one for your face. And then I think we need to differentiate about these two body parts as well for the whole year about sunscreen. So if you're exposed with your skin, if it's spring, you can use a light sunscreen for your arms maybe because, I don't know, there's not enough sun yet and you're fine, right? But if you go to the beach, if it's summer, if you whole day outside, please use a very high sun protection for your body that you like to use. That's the most important thing, that you really like to use, because that makes it so much easier for you to think about it, to apply it, and not to leave your house without it. When it comes to the face, it's a bit different because the face is constantly exposed. If it's summer, if it's winter, if it's whatever, face needs a bit more attention to this sun protection thing, and as well because we care that we don't age, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we already know is that 90% or up to 90% of aging is caused by some UV rays, particularly the UVA rays. And as I already said at the beginning, UVA rays are here the whole year around. So especially for adults that can make their own decisions and that can be informed as well, it's super important to be protected every single day against UVA. How can you detect if your sunscreen has UVA? You will see either a UVA circle on your product or broad spectrum or PA+++. You can all read this on our blog post as well. And I just recently saw someone, like a skin influencer, who called out the brands that they don't put the actual UVA level on their products. And I was like, that's actually genius, because when you think about it, you only need 1/3 of UVB needs to be UVA, that you're allowed to put the official signal that people know, okay, this is also protecting against UVA. So when you think about it, you have an SPF 30, you need only an UVA 10 to be able to put the UVA circle. So this can range. When I do the testing, I usually have minimum 50% of UVA in my products. So actually, I should start to put that on the product, because then people will know, okay, this is a high UVA protection, or this is just a normal UVA protection. That's something we can maybe cover in another time, but that was just something that I was like, okay, that's actually a cool thing. I think brands should be accountable for that,
Transparent for this, yeah.
because UVA rays are during the whole year the more important ones, because they're the whole year here. UVB rays are really during summer, really when it's sunny as well, right? And these are the ones that give us the sunburn as well.
These are the one you feel, I would say. The UVA.
You're not sure, you don't feel, you don't see. They even penetrate through glass, they penetrate through window. So they're really the scary ones, but because we don't feel them, we don't see them, and we don't see the impact for so long that we are just like, yeah, we don't care, right? So I think that's what I want to say about the adults.
Okay, so yeah, then we covered the kids and also the adults. Just be careful about every information you hear about. You have all details on our guide, but maybe we can go through something that is really important is what are the difference with the countries, because it's not the same if you buy something here in Europe, something in the US, or something in Asia. You just need to be careful about this one, but just share a bit more about this to us, because it's not a commonly known information that we have different regulations.
I was also shocked at the beginning when I first got to know this, because I didn't know that they're so different. Like Europe is so different to the US and also to Asia, because there are different regulations. So when it comes to UVB, we have the same understanding more or less in the whole world. But when it comes to UVA, we have different testing methods, even like different regulations, but also different testing methods. So I already shared that quickly. We have 3 different ones: the UVA circle, which is Europe, and it's tested in Europe. We have the PA from 1 plus to 4 plus, which is Asia regulation, and we have the broad spectrum, which is the US regulation. But all of them are just focused on UVA. Has nothing to do with UVB. For UVB, it will stand SPF 15, 30, whatever. So that's the UVB, and that's more or less like standard everywhere in the world. But then another part that actually shocked me as well, and that I understood why on TikTok, on Instagram, on the socials, there's so much talking about the chemical filters, because the US has very, very outdated regulations. So they didn't update the regulations since 1999. So there are no new filters approved since that time, and no changes made. While meanwhile, Europe and Asia adapted much more amazing new filters, safer filters, less irritable filters as well, the chemical filters, and they also reduced the amount you're able to use from some old chemical filters. What means that in Europe, if it's tested and regulated in Europe, one of the old filters you can use now only like 2% maximum, while in the US you can still use 10% of this filter. So for me, it feels like really okay. The US really needs to look into this, because it's not so safe anymore. And also the people are very frustrated because they can only use mineral based filters, and as you already shared, not everyone likes the white look or the feeling as well. Especially the white look got better, but especially for dark skin, you can still see the white because it's just the nature of the filter, and sometimes you feel it much more than some chemical filters. So if I would be in the US, I would only buy mineral based filters, because they only have the old chemical filters. So we did in the guide include all the filters with not only the official name, also with the name that is on the INCI list, because they're different, that you can really scan through the sunscreens yourself, because it's so, how should I say, it's not very clear to find the filters. Even I sometimes still need to check my list because there are so many names, different names for each filter. So we helped you with that to look for this. So you can see there which ones are outdated or old and which ones are the newer ones. You see how they're differently called and if we recommend them or not. So it's pretty easy now to navigate this.
So some are known, like we talk about the octocrinone and those things. Okay, it's most of us know about it, but be careful as well. It's not because it has been said that it's not a good one that is it's still on the market, I want to say, because it's long to change some regulations. So it's still on the market also in Europe, mostly in the US, but also in Europe. So just be careful. Just check more or less the filters, those names we have in the guide, and be a bit mindful about this one. The last thing I want to highlight, because it's not something we know necessarily, is that sometimes, take an example, the skincare will be an SPF skincare mineral filters, but there are some what we call the boosters. And the boosters are some ingredients that we are using to kind of boost the SPF protection. So like to boost the protection. In the end, the protection is good. But those boosters, as we call them, they are similar kind of ingredient as the chemical one that are usually bad ones. So it's a fake information to say it's 100% mineral based protection if some boosters are in it. And this is mostly the case again in the US. I was there some time ago checking all the SPF protection, and you look at the mineral one, it looks really good, looks organic, really a nice one, but in the ingredients you see some boosters. So it's the same as a really bad one here in Europe. Which is a bit scary, but just be careful about this one because we don't talk so much about it. But it's something that is used in the formulation of SPF products. You also have a list of some of those ingredients in our guide, so you can also understand what is what when you read a bit about the ingredients in the formula.
In general, if the product is also sold in the US, you already need to be careful because most brands don't change the formula for Europe then. They may be needed to adjust some levels of the filters, but usually they don't change the whole formula. So if it's available in the US, sold there, just be cautious.
Yeah. No, that's, I think we covered most of what we have on our guide. Feel free to go explore it. We're here if you have any questions. We just want to also highlight that we have built together the two brands, our duo. So you can have some duo, so two skincare protection from each brand, and that covers the whole family, your kids, you, and in any case for the summer and also for the spring. So just check on our website, and then maybe Jess, I will let you do the conclusion on the last few tips when we talk about sun protection.
Yes, thank you very much. I think also for the kids' ski holidays, it's very important to have sun protection. So Claire and myself, we did a set which is called Mama Mini, and we try to accommodate with this set the parents and the kids at the same time. So check it out. We also have it on our blog post and on our websites. And yeah, I think go to the blog post because you can see there a lot, read a lot. We try to be very honest with the information, and it's really backed by science. So it's not just, I don't know, someone who puts that information out there. And then if you have any more questions, if you want us to go over any other topics related to sun protection, please tell us. We're very, very happy to do this because we really want to help you to navigate this insane jungle of sun protection easier and well informed as well. So exactly. Yeah, I think my last words are really please use sunscreen, use the one you like, use the one that you really want to use daily, but at the same time be cautious what's in there and don't just trust the marketing claims, because unfortunately I saw that a lot when I used to work for a manufacturer of skincare, that marketing you can unfortunately do a lot, that just don't trust it blindly, get informed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's clear. Yeah. And yeah, don't be afraid about the sun. Just stay aware and protect yourself. That's, I would say, the most important.
Your kids will be so thankful if you protected them the whole childhood because they
Mhm.
will age much less fast. They will have much less sunspots, wrinkles, but most importantly, also not the same risk of skin cancer, right?
Exactly.
So don't do it just for you, do it also for your kids, and please don't get them burned. That's really the worst you can do.
Thank you, Jess. And then, yeah, we're here. If you have any question, just feel free to connect with us.
Thank you, Claire, as well, for all your amazing work you do for the mamas and kids. We really need to support them as much as we can. Thank you so much for that. And I think see you next time.
See you soon.